Islam and friendship. As sad as it is, and as convicting as it is for so many, the Quran prohibits Muslims from being friends of Christians and Jews. In Surah 551 we read, O ye who believe, take not the Jews and the Christians for your friends and protectors. They are but friends and protectors to each other, and he amongst you that turns to them for friendship is of them. Verily Allah guideth not a people unjust. Next translation, take not the Jews and the Christians for friends. In other translations, do not take the Jews and the Christians for friends. All three versions translate it as friends. I've seen many try to dance around it briefly, but the Quran is clear, and they quite quickly end their objections. If a Muslim makes a friend of a Christian or Jew, they are of them, which is a horrific position for a Muslim. This would make them an Islamic apostate, which is punishable by death, even in Canada.
Adam will never walk again. His legs bear the scars of many operations to repair a devastated muscle, tendon, and bones. He suffered these injuries when he was thrown off a fourth-floor balcony at a shopping mall. It's a miracle he survived. What's more shocking is that the person who ordered the attack was his own mother.
I received a letter from my mom threatening me that she was going to kill me if I do not go back to Islam.
Adam is a Christian living in Canada, but he was born and raised a Muslim in Morocco.
I was raised in a very strict family. I was punished all the time if I failed to comply with teachings of Islam. I remember it was Ramadan and I did not pray, and for that my mom hit me on my nose and she broke it.
So we can see that it doesn't really matter where you live in the world, the punishment is the same. So if a Muslim says he's a friend of yours, he is either an Islamic apostate or is engaging in deception. Lying in the way of Allah, known as taqiyya, is an acceptable Islamic practice, though practiced by some sects more broadly and extensively than others. All Muslims believe you can deny being a Muslim in a circumstance where admitting to it may put your life at risk, for example. Very different matter for Christians. For whosoever shall deny me before men, him will I also deny before my Father which is in heaven. Of deception to advance Islam, G.J.O. Moshe, a Nigerian who has seen firsthand how Islam works, writes in Who is This Allah? After quoting Surah 551, he goes on. In other words, any Muslim who becomes a Christian or even befriends a Christian leaves the leadership and control of Allah. So all Islamic leaders who come to British and American church leaders for interfaith cooperation are either defying the instructions of Allah or they have a hidden agenda. The Islam of the 7th century AD is the same today, probably under new guises as the situation demands. It is the same tactic of no compulsion in religion that Muhammad first adapted to Christians and Jews that Muslims are using in the Western world today. And that verse for no compulsion occurs early in the Quran and is abrogated by over 100 verses that call for violence against non-Muslims that follow it. He goes on, migrate to Christian areas because they are tolerant. Pretend to be peaceful, friendly, and hospitable. Begin to clamor for religious, political, and social rights and privileges that you will not allow to Christians in an Islamic country. Breed fast there and settle down. There should be no Christian activities in your community. You may speak or write to discredit their religion, but they must not talk about Islam. Begin to expand your community. Christian activities should be restricted in all the places you expand to. The moment you have enough military might against these disbelievers, these Trinitarian kafirs, go ahead and eliminate them or suppress them as much as you can and be in control. Where immediate invasion is not possible, that has always been the policy. There are so many incitements against Christians and Muslims running through the pages of the Quran that we find it hard to believe that anybody can be a real practicing Muslim now or then and not hate Christians. It is impossible. Any Muslim who is not violent, secretly or openly, is hardly a real Muslim, at least not in the Quranic sense. It means he has not got the spirit of Islam. A typical practicing Muslim must be violent, especially if he expects to get any reward in the Muslim heaven. Let those who fight in the way of Allah, who sell the life of this world for the other, who fighteth in the way of Allah, be he slain or be he victorious, on him we shall bestow a vast reward. To this we can add over 100 verses in the Quran that suggest violence against non-Muslims, or those in the Dar el-Harb, such as, I will instill terror into the hearts of the unbelievers, smite ye above their necks, and smite all their fingertips off them. For example, in Indonesia, 3 teenage girls were beheaded on their way to Christian school, and one head left on the steps of a church. The note left behind reads, we will murder 100 more Christian teenagers, and their heads will be presented as presents. Just recently in the news, another 51 killed in India in an Islamic bombing. This is Islamic fundamentalism, and it has nothing whatsoever to do with Zionism any more than the 2 million that have been slain in the Sudan does. For the details on over 12,000 deadly Islamic terror attacks around the world just since 9/11, please visit thereligionofpeace.com. Wherever you see murder and mayhem around the world today, you will find the Islamic second jihad. For those in the grip of Islam, please visit islamandthetruth.com for an introduction to the Gospels, and israelandbibleprophecy.com for the text version of this video. And everyone is welcome to join us in the Ecclesia Forum at brotherpete.com. May God lead us all in all truth, and Jesus is the way and the truth and the life.